Alright everyone, back to break down the prelims of UFC Vegas 5 Lewis versus Oleinik card. It's coming up here on Saturday in 2 days time. So first fight of the night, 135, Ali Al-Qiyasi versus Erwin Rivera. Didn't do much tape for this fight, to be honest. Watched some of Qiyasi's fights and some of Rivera's. We've seen Rivera step in on like 1 day's notice, I think it was, against Giga Chikadze. Just showed this amazing chin. Somehow managed to stay in the fight despite being knocked down with knees and stuff. Just crazy tough. And that was at 145, and that was actually a decent performance by him. Like you could tell there's something there. But when I watched Al-Qiyasi, he just came across as very low level to me, so he did. There was nothing really that I saw that I was particularly impressed with. He has this weird like guard on the feet, It's just, I don't know. I think Rivera can hit takedowns and stuff here on Qiyasi, and I think he's a better fighter on the feet. Good cardio. Is a sort of boxing style for MMA. Good gas tank on him. I think all this is just reflected in the odds. Rivera's actually improved. His odds have improved. So what is he now? 4-7. Let's see what he's on. I mean, might have to retape this fight if Rivera's odds keep improving, because I think he does win this fight, to be honest. Yeah, even though he is, lower level. I mean, he's average. He's an average bantamweight, but no, I do think he wins this fight by decision. I think personally, I just think he's a better overall fighter than Qiyasi. I think he has a good lot of success in that smaller octagon. Pushing Qiyasi up against the fence, unloading bombs on him. Yeah, but decision victory, I think, for Erwin Rivera. Yusuf Zalal versus Peter Barrett. Jeez. So Yusuf Zalal, I rate him very highly for his age, especially. He's 23, and he really impressed me with his UFC debut and his following performance against Jordan Griffin. Which I bet him in the Jordan Griffin fight, and actually live bet him at about evens, which is crazy because he was winning that fight to me. He's very good on the feet. Switches stances, very loose, good footwork, but when he has to, he can go to his wrestling, and he can work his ground game. He actually has a decent ground game for his age. He showed that in the Lingo fight. He almost submitted Lingo. He's got 5 submission victories on his record. Most of them are against, obviously, lesser guys, but don't just think that he won't get submissions in the UFC, because he will. I think Jordan Griffin and Austin Lingo both of them very hard to submit, so that's why I didn't submit them. But if Yusuf Zalal tries to take Peter Barrett down, which I think he does, he'll submit him. If you go back and watch Peter Barrett's fights, he's not good on the ground. He gives up bad positions. He just tends to end up in very bad positions, and eventually he gets choked out and stuff. Seen that TJ Brown fight, the Conor Barry fight, we've seen that in. Yeah, so, and Conor Barry is 4-2. That was in 2018. He's obviously improved, but still, that's kind of shocking to me. But yeah, no, I think there's plenty of value on Yusuf Zalal by sub in this one. I think it's 9-2. Plenty of value there, I think, because I do think he finishes Peter Barrett here, who I was not impressed with when I watched him on tape. even this Contender series fight, I mean, he won it, but he didn't even look that good against Sang Hun Yu. And then the Zach DeCipitino fight. I mean, who, like, this guy is bad. Zach, he was he's just a very, very poor fighter. And he knocked him out in the first round, but as expected, like, but I mean, his previous win before it was against Jay Ellis, who's at the time was 15-75, so 15 wins, 75 losses, which is insane. He's sort of known in the Canada scene, the American scene, is just being brutal. Like, look at this record, what's this about? But yeah, he submitted him, as he should do. But no, I think whatever way Zalal wants to win this fight, I think he does. It's reflected in the odds, 2-7. I'm against, parlays and stuff, but honestly, see if you can get Zalal at 2-7, as he is here in Bet Victor. I think maybe he's worth putting in accumulators parlays if you want to. I mean, because I think there's not much risk to it, to be honest. I'm not going to personally, but I've got another bet in this fight which I have for members, but it's more like a personal play. But yeah, so Zalal most likely by finish. I'm gonna go with sub. So Justin James versus Gavin Tucker. So from here on upwards, these are all fights I taped today. I just grinded out tape today, but Justin James opened up at about 190, so he did, and that's a good bet to me. Gavin Tucker in his last fight relied on his wrestling against the Asian fella, Wu Choi. He relied on his wrestling, but don't think he's gonna be able to take Justin James down here, who's a accomplished high school wrestler and stuff. And if you go back and watch his like early professional fights, he is fighting welterweights and stuff. And he controls them on the ground, like these big fighters. He's controlling them on the ground, and he's a featherweight, which is crazy. He also has 2 fights and 2 wins over Dikeen Townsend, who is a light heavyweight in the UFC right now. I think he's going to be cut, but Justin James is a featherweight and he has 2 wins over a UFC light heavyweight. It's just weird, but no, he is good. Justin James, he starts Frank Camacho in 1 round there, which was last month, 2 months ago, on short notice as well. So I'm keen to see what he looks like on a full camp. To be honest, he does look good to me, because when he does have trouble on the feet, he resorts to his takedowns, which I like to see. And he uses that to stamp his authority down on rounds. So, to be honest, the Gavin Tucker we've seen in his 3 UFC outings has been very inconsistent. He looked an amazing kickboxer against Sam Cecilia. Then Rick Lane just beats him up on the feet for 15 minutes, almost finishes him. Fight probably should have been finished. And then against Choi, he shows like his wrestling. But he's going to have to bring out the Gavin Tucker that we've seen in the Sam Cecilia fight, who's very loose on his feet, in and out. But at the same time, he's coming up against a much bigger man, who I think he walks around at 175. I was listening to an interview of James Inch. Justin James was saying he was cutting down for the Camacho fight on like 3 days' notice, and he was cutting 15 pounds to lightweight limit. Or actually, he would walk around about 180 odds, 182 or something, which is crazy for 5'7" featherweight. So he's a big fella for all the head of him, but Yeah, so he's going to have the size advantage, the weight advantage, the power advantage over Gavin Tucker here. Probably the better wrestling. So see if he got Justin James, as some people did, at plus 200. That's a good bet to me, Nick. I do think James win this fight. He's the underdog still, which is interesting, but I think his value has kind of deteriorated. Because I do think Gavin Tucker is good. I just think he's very inconsistent. But I'm going to go with Justin James by... I'm going to say decision. Or maybe TKO. I don't know. TKO or decision. Justin James. So I have a few prelims to get through here very quickly. But Andrew Sanchez versus Wellington Turman. I came into this fight thinking I was going to bet Turman. You know, it looked like a good bet, but he's a bit of a wild man. And I don't really like betting on wild man in the octagon because, you know, in the Carl Robertson fight, he was doing all these flying knees and stuff, and then entering the clinch where he was getting out muscled, which is a position that Andrew Sanchez exceeds in the clinch because he's a very good wrestler. He was giving up bad positions on the ground. Whenever he got the back, he was like letting Carl Robertson, from having backside, he was letting Carl Robertson within about 30 seconds to have full guard and stuff. You know, that's not what you want to look for. But I think if this fight does stay on the feet, which I think it will for 15 minutes, I think Turman should win, because if you look at his stand-up, it's much more diverse than Sanchez's. He's just like a wrestler boxer, whereas Wellington Turman is, he has all these funky knees and all these wild kicks. But I think Wellington Turman wins this one by decision, but it's close. I think it's a good live bet fight. Alright, so next one, Kevin Holland versus, or sorry, skipping one, Nasrat Haqparast versus Alec Munoz. So as I say, for this, as I said for the Sanchez fight, I thought Turman was going to be a good bet for that fight. And in the same way, I before tape, I went into this fight thinking Nasrat was going to be a good bet. But after tape, I don't think so. Because, I mean, he's 2-5. He is minus 250 right now. And that's just a bit weird to me, because I don't think Munoz is all that bad, and he's very credentialed wrestler. Fights out of Team Alpha Male, you know, he's training with Uriah Faber and those type of guys there, Andre Fili. But you know, he doesn't look as like one-sided. He doesn't look as he looks more well-rounded than I thought he would, because I heard he's like a big wrestler, that's all he really relies on. But to be honest, some of his stand-up was decent, but when we're comparing it to Nasrat Haqparast, his striking is on a different level to Alex Munoz. But Nasrat Haqparast, he spends a lot of time behind the black lines and stuff, counter-striking, waiting for someone to come in. And I'm just wondering if he does that against Munoz. Munoz is probably going to shoot like Marcin Hell did on Haqparast. And while I do think Haqparast's takedown offense has improved, I still think there's potential for Munoz to take Haqparast down and potentially, you know, score points and control Haqparast. But it's hard not to go with Haqparast in this one, because he's proven more. He is more well-rounded. He's good wins in the UFC. You know, Haqparast is the real deal, but minus 250 is too weird. But Haqparast by decision in that one. Next fight, Kevin Holland, Joaquin Buckley. So Joaquin Buckley is an interesting guy. He is pretty sure he's 5'8". I was reading on Sherdog. Pretty sure he is. He's fought with welterweight and stuff. Kevin Holland isn't the biggest middleweight there is, but I actually haven't taped Joaquin at all, because Kevin Holland is a minus 500 favourite, I think, here. minus 450 or something you would get. Yeah. So there's no way I could play that. Listen, it's a hard fight for Buckley in his UFC debut against Holland, who, he's a proven guy. He's a bit of a dodgy guy to bet on, but there's no way he doesn't beat Buckley here. There's no way. I think he beats him by finish. Kevin Holland does, because Buckley is, he's just not proven, and he is not the best striker, especially in comparison to Kevin Holland. So, I mean, if you're prop betting or whatever, method of victory, maybe Kevin Holland TKO. What's the odds? There is no odds for it yet, but yeah, expect this one not to go to the judges. But you never know. Kevin Holland's a weird fighter. Can't really trust him to finish anyone. But saying that, he probably comes out and starches Buckley within a minute and a half or something. You never know. So yeah, Kevin Holland TKO on that one. Alright, so final prelim of the card. Tim Means versus Laureano Staropoli. So Tim Means, he is he's 2-4 in his last 6, which is never good. But if you look at the level of competition he's came up against, it's much better fighters than Staropoli. But I went in this fight thinking that Staropoli was going to be a good bet, but to be honest, I came away from tape thinking Tim Means was very live, so that, because Tim Means is a fighter who relies on pressure, so the small cage favours Tim Means here. And if you watch Staropoli, when he gets backed up, his stand-up game isn't effective because he relies on kicks. And if Tim Means does back him up, he can pressure him, he can work his boxing, and be in and out, uses 4-inch reach advantage he has in this one, and just outwork Staropoli on the feet. But when you watch Staropoli, especially his first 2 fights, not as much the Salikov one, but Aldana and Alves fight, he's very good on the feet, so he is, no doubt about it. But I have a weird feeling. I was listening to another James Lynch interview from Tim Means that he was saying, he wants to wrestle more and stuff, because he was saying that he knows he's taken a bit of damage his last 2 losses against Price and against Daniel Rodriguez, and he basically wants to show what his jiu-jitsu game, what his wrestling game is all about, rather than just taking all these shots to the head and stuff, and being in brawls. But I don't think Tim Means holds Staropoli on the ground for very long. I think if Staropoli does get taken down, where Means will have a good advantage over him on the ground, I think it's only a matter of time before Staropoli gets back up. He showed it in his first 2 UFC fights. He can get back up from being took down, and he does have the better footwork than Tim Means, so he might just use his footwork to stay out of, to stop having his back up against the cage and just being pressured, and being behind the black lines and just being outstruck. So it's a hard fight to call, honestly. It is. It's very hard to call this one. Honestly, I don't think Tim Means is done. I don't think he's totally shot, but he is 2-4 in his last 6, 2 knockout losses basically in his last 2 losses. So I'm gonna go Staropoli by decision here. Yeah, it's a hard one, but Staropoli decision. Alright, so that's prelims. I will get up the main card as soon as possible. So thanks everyone, tune in for that.